Good morning, students. Last class we discussed about different types of operators. So now let us discuss the precedence of operator. That is, when many operators are involved, how the final values evaluated, how the final values calculated. So that is what we call as a precedence of operators. So there is some precedence we have to follow when you have multiple operators and operands. So let us we discuss that, which we have a standard hierarchy. So we have to follow that hierarchy to get the final value. At first, it becomes absolutely necessary to know as what is an expression. So now we should know what is an expression. An expression is a combination of operators and operands. Opcode means operator. Operand means data value on which the operator acts. The operator could be arithmetic, relational, logical, or any just discussed previously. So what we have discussed previous, any type of operators. If the expression contains multiple operators, that's what I said. So the order in which the operations are carried out is called precedence of operator. The order, so the priority means how the operators are evaluated, how these operations are performed with the operands. That is the precedence of operator. It's also known as priority or hierarchy of operators. So operator precedence determines the grouping of terms in expression. So this affects how expression is evaluated. We'll discuss that one. So certain operators have higher precedence than others. For example, the multiplication has higher precedence than the addition operator. So if expression contains a multiple operators, the order in which the operations are carried out is called as a precedence of operator. That's the definition. It's also called as a priority or hierarchy of operator. You can see here, so we have a plus, we have a star. So when you have multiple operators, the order, the way these operations are carried out, the order, that is, we have to multiply first, then we have to add. That is the actual value. You can see here, you will get different values. Like if I add these two, so 7 plus 3, 10, 10 plus 2 is 12. So x is assigned to example 12. It's not become 3, you can 3 to the 6, 6 plus 7, 13. So that is how we have to, actually when you have like this, how do you perform? So that's why first we have to multiply. The precedent says first multiply, that is 6 plus 3, 13 is assigned. Here x becomes the value 13. So not 20, it's not 20, actually it is 12. This is an error. So it is because star has higher precedence than plus. So it first we get multiplied with 6 and then we add it to 7. So here are the let us we go with the which is the precedence of operators. The highest precedence appears at the top of the table and those with the lowest appears at the bottom. So this is within an expression, higher precedence will be evaluated first. The precedence operators along with the associative is given below. That is where to evaluate from left to right. You can see the highest precedence is given for the parenthesis. Evaluate expression which involves parenthesis like square bracket, this pointer operator, increment or decrement operator. So these has got higher precedence. First we have to, if we have the same precedence, then we have to evaluate from left to right. Then we have a precedence for unary operators. Then we have multiplication like star, slash, all arithmetic operators. Then we have a addition, subtraction. Then we have a right shift, left shift operators. Then we have a relational operator. Then we have a equality, not equal, something like this. So then we have bitwise and bitwise XOR and bitwise OR operators. This is the precedence of operators. We learn all those things. And logical operators, first we have to do AND operation, then we have to do OR operation, then we have a ternary operator. That's a conditional operator. Then we have a assignment operator. So plus equal, star equal, we have the same precedence of operator. Then we have a comma operator. So what is the operator precedence in C++? Already we have discussed the order in which the different types of operations are evaluated is called as a operator precedence. It's also known as hierarchy of operators. All operators in C++ have their own level of precedence. In any expression, the operators having higher precedency are evaluated first. The expression is evaluated in the following equation. That is, the first arithmetic operations are performed. That is, before we evaluate relational operators, we have to perform arithmetic, if any arithmetic operations are involved. Then we have to perform logical operations. That is, relational operations, second preference, and then we have a logical at the end. You can see here level of precedence, operator precedence, we have a not logical is precedence. First we have to perform the logical operators not, then we have a parenthesis, evaluate whichever expression is in the parenthesis, then we have a star, then we have a slash, addition, multiplication, division and modulus operator, then we have addition, subtractions, and again we have a greater than or equal, less than or equal. So then we have a equal, not equal, then we have a and, logical, or, and then not. You can see here the first arithmetic operators, then we have a relational operators, then we have a logical operators. The expression in parenthesis evaluated first. That is, anything which is enclosed in a parenthesis has to be evaluated first. In case of nested parenthesis, the part of the expression innermost parenthesis will be evaluated first. If you have multiple parentheses, then the innermost parenthesis has to be evaluated first. That is important. So next importance given for multiplication and division and also modulus operators evaluated. Then plus minus operation will be performed, and then we have relational operators and or not are performed. So if the expression contains operators of equal priority, then they are evaluated from left to right. So first come first serve basis. That is, if we have the same precedence, we have to evaluate from left to right. Let us take an example here. Consider an expression already we have discussed. We have two parentheses here, one parenthesis. You can see here, notice. Okay, and also we have another parenthesis. You can make out here. Here one parenthesis, and also we have. So according to the precedence of operators, we have to evaluate innermost, that is 10 minus 6, which will give you the 4. And when you get 4 and we have a plus and then we have a slash. So when you have a plus and slash which has got higher precedence means division, so divide. 4 by 2 means 2. Then you have to evaluate 4 plus 2 is 6. So this whole thing will give you 6. I think you have understood this part. So this will give you 6. Then 5 into 6 plus 6, we have a 5, so multiplication is, so 30 plus 5, 35, so answer is 35. So I got the answer how it is done. So just write down and do according to the precedent, follow, that is innermost parenthesis, subtract, because we have parenthesis, evaluate this expression which will give you 10 minus 4 is, 10 minus 6 is 4, and then what we left is 4 plus 4 divided by 2. We have plus and we have a division. So then we have to do the division. So then it will give you 2. Then you end up with this parenthesis, 4 plus 2 is 6. So this whole thing will be 6 now. Then we have 5 into 6 plus 5, which has got higher precedence, multiplication, 30 plus 5. Very simple. That's how the evaluation of expression is. This is just an example according to the precedence of operator. So any algebraic expressions has to be converted into C++ expression before the evaluation. All the variables on the right hand side of the expression should be assigned values for before the execution. If in an expression two operators have same precedence, then the evaluation done from left to right. If nested parentheses encounter, the innermost parentheses already I have told evaluated, and then the remaining. There's some example you can see here. So A, B, C, this is a expression, general expression we have, right? So how do you write in C x++ means? So A star B minus C star D, something like this. If you have like this minus B plus or minus square root of B square minus 4AC divided by 2, this can be written as, because we have plus or minus, we'll get two things. That's why with the plus we have x1 and x2 with the minus. You can see here minus B plus. We have plus or minus, so we'll take first plus square root. We have to use SQRT, we cannot use the symbol. So we have a function SQRT, B into B, B square minus 4 into A. So we have to parenthesis we have to use. So first square root of B square minus 4AC, then you divide the whole thing by 2 into A. So then we have to put the parenthesis. We have to decide which has to be evaluated first, which has to be. Similarly, this is with the minus. This is an example of a C++ expression. This is a normal expression what we have written here. Okay. So this is a C++ expression which is converted. Okay. So type conversion. So what is type conversion means? When the expression is evaluated, so which involves a different types, so they have to be converted into a specific type. So that is, sometimes it goes implicit type conversion. Automatically compiler will convert the final value to be of specific type, and sometimes it is done by the user according to the requirements. They have to enforce, they have to force the final value to be of specific type according to the requirement. That is called as a explicit conversion. So converting an expression of given type into another type is known as a typecasting or type conversion. Type conversion are of two types. One is implicit, which goes automatically. Explicit means the where user forces the final value to be of specific type. Implicit conversion do not require any operators. They are automatically performed. That's what implicit means. They are done automatically when the value is copied to a compatible data type. So C++ compiler will implicitly convert or promote the values if it can be done safely. If it is not, it will generate a warning or error depending on the conversion required. For example, we have A, which is a short integer, so short, and we have a B. So we can copy A equals B. So here the value of A has been promoted from short to integer. That is also short integer, but it is converted. So, and we have not had to specify any type casting operator here, because done by the automatically assignment operator, the compiler will automatically convert. This is known as a standard conversion. The standard conversion affects the fundamental data types and allow conversions such as conversion between numerical types, short integer, integer to float, and double to integer, something like this. Are all data types we'll discuss. When we discuss, you'll understand. Again, we'll repeat this topic when we discussed about data types. Or to from boolean, that is 0, 1, 0 means false, 1 means true, and some pointer conversion, that also we'll discuss, pointer operators. Some of these conversion may imply a loss of precision. So when you convert like fractional part, you may not get, and when you short, long, big, we convert means it changes. So which the compiler can signal with a warning. For example, you can see here we have the integer value, which is a number like this. So when you convert this to short, like integer, short integer, small, so big. So here what happens, you may miss the value. So here in the above example, the compiler will most likely to generate a warning about the truncation as trying to put large number into small variable. So we lose a part of number because this is this number, because we convert it into short means it has a less memory space, and also it will truncate, it will reduce the size of the number. So that's why then that in that time compiler will give you error message. The compiler will make number bigger and never smaller. So when evaluating an expression, that is the difference. So if you add a float to a double, it will treat both as double, so it increases, and add an integer to float means both is treated as a float, it can convert into float, and add a short to an integer means it convert into as an integer, and the same is true with the character as well. So when you take A's character, so A plus 9, something like this. So in this case, this actually we do not use, because both it takes the ASCII value and then adds this one and returns the again integer number. The ASCII value of 59 and we have 50, ASCII value of 0, that is 2 is 50, and we add with 9, so it becomes a 59. This is because of compiler considers ASCII value of 2, which is 50. So in explicit type conversion, what happens means, so we force the value to be a specific type according to the requirements. C++, a strong type language, so many conversion, especially those that imply a different interpretation of the value, require an expression explicit type conversion. We do not want the same. We want the value to be specific type according to the requirements. Then we go like we have a short integer 2000. So and also we have integer B. And so integer A, this is we are forcing explicitly. This also we are forcing. So this is the operator we are using along with the expression or the values. So implicit if conversion will be performed by the compiler itself. So no need to use any additional operators without user intervention. So explicit conversion will be performed by the user according to his needs. That's why we have to force. You can see, so sometime depending, we'll take an example, then you will understand. So right now, when we discuss about data types, we'll repeat this again. Okay. So next, we have a structure of C++. So when you are writing a program, means what will be the structure of how the program I have to write. So what is the layout of the program? So where I type the programs, where I declare variables, how do you input, all those things. This is the general structure of C++. You can see here the structure of C++. We have this is called pre-processed directives. Generally we call, and then we have global declarations, and then we have a void main, then we have a pair of flower brackets, and then we have a declaration and statement. So right now we are not using, just simple they have given. So we'll go with one by one and you'll understand this one. So this is a simple example. So output, this is the first C++ program. We'll get the message like this. Whatever you typed here within these double quotes will be displayed on the screen. Right now you feel uncomfortable, what are these things, what is going on, don't worry. But when you start programming, you'll understand. This is just basics you have to follow. So this is, don't worry about this part. We'll come back to this later on when you do programming. So let us C++ program structure. Let us analyze the structure of C++ program after knowing about the tokens. We have different types of tokens, 5 tokens we have discussed, and operators of C++. From below figure we will get a clear idea of C program structures. This figure not only explains the structure but also gives the explanation about each statement simultaneously along with the simple. We'll follow it. Let us see how it works. You can see here, this is a structure. So first it starts with the comments or documentation. This is optional section. If you want, you can use them. So this is very important. So linker section. That's where we link all the necessary header files. You can see here, this is a comment program to find area and circumference of circle. This is a comments. So what is the program, what it does? So this sometimes it's optional. If you want, you can write it. So this is a compulsory. Linker section means it links all the header files which is required for the programs. Like we have a include hash symbol start with, hash include. Then we have stdio, standard input output .h. So it includes all the functions which is responsible for linking the keyboard and the monitor, because you have to type the instruction means and we need a keyboard. Similarly, you want to see the result on the screen means a monitor. So this we need some programs. Already pre-coded programs will be there. Otherwise it takes a longer time. You have to write programs for keyboard and we have to write the programs for monitor. So therefore what they did means such programs already written, and it's like your calculator. Some functions like sqrt, power, all are available as a part of, just we have to use them. Exactly similar way, there are some like keyboard, monitors, functions already built in, just you call them, just use them whenever it is necessary, but we have to include this standard io.h. And also along with this we have many other things like conio.h, math.h. We'll discuss when you discuss library functions we use, but this is a compulsory, we need to use standard io.h. Next we have a definition section. So what is this definition section means? If you are defining some symbolic constants, like already we discussed about constant, which do not changes during the execution of program, such things can be defined using as define. Then we have a variable name, then along with the constant value. Just an example here, pi is constant. So always pi is 3.142, it remains same. So therefore pi is 3 point, we define. Then we have a global declaration. So this may be like we have function 1, function 2, function 3. If you declare variables outside the main, they can be used inside this, and also you can use in these functions also. When we discuss functions chapters, you'll understand these things. Right now, don't worry about this global declaration. Important is linker section, this definition section. So sometimes we use them, most of the time we may not use. And this is very important. So our program starts with the void main, that's the beginning. So void main, you can see here, this is the main beginning. And then we use a declaration. A declaration section means all the variables, constant, whatever we are using in the program statement must be declared here. So you can see I'm using radius. So it's an identifier which is used to identify. and also its data type. So we learn all of this. And then also I'm using circumference and area. You may be seeing int float. So these are all data types. When you talk about data types, you'll understand. So this is a one memory location which is identified by like radius. Similarly, we have one other memory location which is identified by what we call CIR, circumference, and also we have one more, it's a area, something like this. That's what. Then executable statement sections or execute statements we have. So all this are executable statements. We have an input statement, we have an output statement, and also we have a calculation, assignment statements, many things. So any statements were terminated like statement terminators. So all statements are terminated by semicolon. You can see here all terminated by semicolon. So we have a C out. So what is its output statements? When we discuss next chapters, we'll discuss. So whatever you write in double quotes, input the value for radius. So that will be displayed as it is. That's also we discuss. This is called input. From the keyboard, whatever you type goes to this memory which is created. And also this is a calculation. So pi, already we know the value. We have created 3.142 r into r, where this is a radius into radius. So what is the value stored here will be multiplied, and the final value stored here area. If it is area, this value is copied here. Similarly, circumference 2 pi r, 2 into pi into radius. So this multiplied, and in this memory location, this final value is stored. And we have to display. The area is, you can see here, area we have displayed. What is the value stored here, area will be displayed. Similarly, circumference, we use a double quotes, whatever it is written, it will be there. And the circumference which is stored in this memory will be displayed on the screen. That's how we do programs. Then we have a subroutine or user defined functions. Like function, you can use many functions as many as required. That's called user defined functions. That also we'll discuss. So all this will be discussed in detail. This is the general structure of C++. So we have a first is comments or documentation sections, which is optional, but we have to use this double slash. And then we have a linker section, and also we have a definition section. So global declaration sections. Then we start with the void main, declaration, and executable statements. This is a typical example how this when you write programming. So we have to follow like all the programs are written like this within this pair of flower brackets, that you will understand. So don't worry about if you are not understood right now. Just you think this is the layout, this is the flat form, or this is using this structure we have to write any programs. That's how we do programs in C++. Okay. So next, let us we go in detail. Already we discussed this generally a comment sections discussed as discussed earlier. This section allows user to write comments. If you want to, somebody wants to know what actually it is means. So because the programs may be used by someone else. So if you write comments, so it becomes easy for to understand. So each what is that comment means, what each statement is doing. So why we are like this entire program we are writing, so that comments can be added end of each statement, or also you can use for the program. So all the program statements could include if you want, or just you want to header section only. So they are not executed, that's very important. They do not execute, they are not considered as a part of the program. But they definitely provide the required explanation about the programs to the programmers. Because you may not be knowing what this program is doing. So normally the simple program area and circumference we can understand. But when you normally write a programs means it will be hundreds and thousands lines of programs. I may not be knowing what exactly that 15 lines of instruction will be doing. So there we may use a comment. So this module or this is going to do something, some task. So there you can use the comments. So comments starts with double slash, or also it can be enclosed in slash star. So whatever between this will not be executed. So that is something about the comments or documents. So then you have a linker section. The linker section begins with the hash symbol. So hash include is the pre-processed directives. So already pre-processed, it's already processed. The statements are already processed and available whenever you want to used in the program. So these statements are processed first already by the compiler, and then the rest of the statement are compiled. So these statements tells the compiler to include the header files iostream.h, conio.h into the program. There are many things we may use. They are already processed, they are available. Like just imagine like your calculators, whatever the functions you have there, exactly similar. Already they have pre-coded. When you type automatically this function, how to do those procedures already done in the calculator as a function. Similar way here also iostream.h, conio.h, math.h, string. We'll discuss all those things. That is where to include them. Just you can, using this hash include. Then you can support. So whatever this header file contains, many functions, all those functions can be used. Let's say input stream, IO input output stream.h. So next we have a definition section. So in this definition section, so whatever the constant, many constant we are using means that can be used. So in this sections we define constants, expressions, structures, functions, classes and objects. That's also we'll discuss in the next academic. And linker section get executed this. The definition sections executed by the compiler, and this section is optional. If you want you can use, otherwise you do not want. And above example we see pi is a constant identifier which takes the value 3.142, and whenever this identifier is used, compiler replaces that value, that name identifier by 3.142. Whatever you give that value, this remains same throughout the program. Then we have a global declaration. So when you talk about functions, we'll learn these things. So we can declare variables here, and those variables which are declared before the main functions or any other function, then the scope of such variables remains throughout the function and can be used by the functions of the program. All the functions, including main, all the functions would also be used. So this section is again optionals, and depending on the needs of applications that is being developed, so you can use them. So even the above example, we have this examples, we do not have global declarations. So then we have a main function. Main is also a function. Let us discuss about this main function. So void main. This is the instruction. This instruction marks the beginning of the main function, and it contains the statement that perform the required task. This is where our program starts. This statement is executed first by the compiler, and then the program starts. So it is also important to note there will be only one main function. So in every program there will be only one main function. You may have many sub-programs. There you can use many things. So we have pair of flower brackets. This is the opening. This is the close. Here in between them we have a statement. The statements inside the function, including main functions, enclosed with the opening and close flower brackets or braces, you can say. So therefore we can see here. So variable declaration sections. So all the things in the above example program, we have declared the variables and it's along with data types. This helps the compiler to allocate a space inside the computer memory. So those variables are declared inside the functional block, and life or scope of such variables are available only in that block. So whatever the variables, if I declared inside this main, means they are available only within this. They cannot be used outside. So that's a local variable we call. We'll understand all those things when you do start programming. Then we have a executable statement. So C++ statements are written inside the main function or any other function as well, subprogram. So these statements can be expressions. Already we talked about. It can be input-output function statements, conditional statements, all looping statements. Already we have discussed a function call and so on. We'll discuss all those things. So we have seen the example of compute the area and circumference of the circle, and also we use a cout and also we use a cin. So cout as the compiler for the output operation. You can see a radius and text present inside the double quotes. Input the value for radius. This is a string constant that will be displayed on the screen. The next is in the function statement, which we are talking about, is the next two statements. C++ can calculate the area and circumference. You can see here. That's also we discussed cin. And finally, the next two output statements respectively were displayed on the screen. So importance of iostream.h. So IO is discussed earlier, include some of the files source program using, they include like iostream.h directory, which linker section of the program. The preprocessor is an instruction to the compiler itself, so that it deals with those directories we have discussed. Okay, no problem this one. So, and also we have a library, mathematical functions. All mathematical functions, you can use sine, cos, all those things, whichever mathematical function could also be used. and depending on the requirements we use. But you have to use this function means we have to include math.h. You can also convert this angle to radians if you want to use them. So next we have a character functions. Is all for, it checks it is alphabetical or not. Is it alphabet or not? Uppercase or lower. Like is digit, it checks it's a digit between 0 to, it's all the functions, it's a character manipulating functions. Is alphanumeric, it returns true if it's a digit from 0 to 9 or alphabetic characters either uppercase or lower, otherwise it returns false. Is alphanumeric. Is lower, it returns true when it's a lowercase. If it is uppercase, it returns false. You can see C is uppercase, it returns false. E is upper, so S it returns the value true because it's uppercase. You can convert classification and conversion to upper. If it's in lowercase, it converts to uppercase. If it's in uppercase, it converts to lowercase. String function, we have a string length, string cat, string, so concatenate, combines S1 and S2 with S2. Like we have S1 is updated. If it is a string is a computer, it's a science means S1 becomes computer science. It copies S2 to S1 and also can compare whether they are identical. If they are identical, it returns 0. Otherwise, it alphabetically greater than or less than. String compare without ignoring the case sensitive. Okay, same thing. So it reverses the string. All the characters in a string is reverted. It converted into all the characters in a string into uppercase. It convert all the characters into a lowercase. And also we have console input-output operations like the following is performed like standard IO.h or also IOStream.h. Get characters, it is used to read a single character from the keyboard, IO devices or input devices. And put characters, again it is used to place on the screen, a single character on the output device. Okay. Get, it's a string, it is used to get the string. So sequence of characters will be accepted. And also put string, it displays the sequence of character output devices. But also we have some general purpose standard library function, randomize it is, so random numbers, and also we have to converts into a numerical representation, converts, so A to numerical, and also we have converts from number to string. Okay, we'll discuss later on. So some of the more functions you can see here, the general form of get character. You can see here get or you can use get. So from the keyboard whatever type that will be copied to variable ch. So provided ch is a character type. Ch and ch1 are the variables of character type. They take no argument and requires conio.h header file. If you want to use this get function means we have to use. So the cursor blinks, the user must type any characters until you press, so that takes that characters and whatever displayed on the screen. I think this completes this chapter. So next class we'll discuss about the input-output statement. Then you'll understand. We'll start right programming. If you are not understood so far, nothing, no problems. But once you do the programming, again each topic will be dealt in detail. Then you will be able to understand. But you may feel it's very complicated, very something. But I assure you that when you start programming, you'll understand these things are easier. Don't worry. Let me, once class starts, I'll explain once again, you will understand. Okay. So read this and write assignment for this. Write all 1 mark questions and 2 mark questions, 3 marks, all these things you have to write in your notebooks. And also if you have doubts, any questions not understood, let me know. Okay. We'll continue next class at data types.